A Florida elementary school pulled black children from classes, lectured them about poor grades. Parents outraged, and the principal forced out. William Jacobson is a law professor at Cornell University and joins me now. Professor, what do you make of only minority kids being pulled aside for a lecture on their poor performance?
Well, I think this is a reflection of the whole problem with diversity, equity, and inclusion, critical race theory, whatever you want to call it. It treats black students as doomed to failure, and that appears to be what was happening in this elementary school, that they presumed that because of the color of skin that they were going to have a harder time. And that sort of stereotypes is so negative for the students, and obviously the parents are objecting.
Do you believe that this happens, I wouldn't say frequently, but happens elsewhere?
I think it's unusual to have an assembly just for black students or just for white students or just for any, but I think the purpose is there throughout in the way that students are treated, in the way they're taught about our society, that there's systemic racism, that they're essentially doomed to failure. So whether they pull them out of the classroom and put them in an assembly or they just do it in the classroom, it's the same problem.
Would you just hold on for a second for us, Professor? I've got one more subject I'd like you to address after this. Parents are outraged at new comments from Randi Weingarten. Ashley, come into this. What did she say?
Well, Weingarten likened the rhetoric of supporters of school choice and parental rights initiatives to that of segregationists. Listen to this.
The same kind of roots that happened in the aftermath of Brown v. Board, those same words that you heard in terms of wanting segregation post Brown v. Board of Education, those same words you hear today.
Weingarten argued that only a small group of extremists want to see an end to public education, support school choice and parental rights policies, but critics say, guess what? Public schools remain one of the most racially and economically segregated institutions in America, and a Stanford study found that white-black segregation between schools increased 35% between 1991 and 2020. Stu.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Come back in. Professor Jacobson, please. What do you make of the comment that the language of segregation is the same as the language of school choice?
Well, it's somebody who obviously can't see what's in front of her. School choice is choice. It's empowering parents. It's letting them make the choice where their kids are going to go. But as we've seen in the prior segment, the segregation is taking place through the ideology pushed by Randi Weingarten, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion and critical race theory. That's what's separating students. We need to treat all students the same and fairly based on their performance and their merits, not based on their skin color. So Randi Weingarten is like the arsonist who set fire to the house and now is complaining that the house is on fire. She's the cause of a lot of these problems, and her organization.
Real fast, Professor, do you get pushback at Cornell for your views?
Well, it varies over time. Sometimes it's been very intense, sometimes not intense, but I'm still here. I'm still talking to you. And as far as I know, I still have a job. But yes, there is pushback.
That's good to hear. We don't want you to lose your job because of us, and that's a fact. Professor Jacobson, thank you very much for being on the show. I hope we can come back soon, too. Thank you, sir.
Great. Thanks for having me.